welcome to a new session in English. And today we're going to do an interesting poem, alright? And before we get into the poem, I'm going to introduce my friend.
Whoa! Who is this?
Yes, Mr. Fred, I was coming to that. This is a ladybug. And
Man, what kind of an insect is this?
yeah, this is a beetle. Okay? And my dear kids,
Well, then, does it fly? Huh? Does it fly? How does it fly?
well, Mr. Fred, it has wings, okay? It flies with its wings, okay? Well, so now that you know, my little friend has come here to hear the poem that I'm going to teach you all. And so, the name of the poem,
Why is it so big? Huh? For an insect? Oh, it's so bigger than me! Oh! Why?
oh my dear Fred, it is a soft toy, so it's not the exact beetle, okay? It is a model of a beetle, that is why it is so big in size. Alright, anyways, and so, the name of the poem is 6 Honest Serving.
I've seen this insect for the first time. Where do you find them? Oh,
Well, Mr. Fred, these ladybug beetles are usually found in grasslands, in forests, suburbs, and cities also. Alright, so, well, let's get on to the poem. So, as I was saying, the name of the poem is 6 Honest Serving Men. Alright, now you may be thinking,
then when do we find ladybugs? Huh? When do ladybugs come around? I want to know. When? Huh?
these beetles are usually seen from the season of spring until autumn. Okay, so that's the period when you can see these beetles often. Well, Mr. Fred, I have to get on to the poem. Are you sure you don't have any other questions you want to ask? You kept on asking me questions on how, why, what, where, when. Are you done?
No questions.
Well, good, Mr. Fred. Now I think he'll remain quiet for some time because I've answered all his questions and he's got the answers. Let's wait. Well, no questions, so he's quiet. Well, that's exactly what the poet in this poem is trying to tell us about the 6 honest serving men. And you know who are these 6 honest serving men? They are just these questions. What? How? Why? When? Where? How? Yeah. Alright, these questions are the 6 honest serving men. Well, I want to tell you that this poem has a very deep meaning. Each sentence has a deep meaning, alright? It's not what it actually is talking about, but we should understand what it really wants to talk about. It's got its meaning inside, alright? So today, in this poem, I'll be teaching you each and every line and I'll tell you what it means, okay? Well, before we get into the meaning of the poem, let's understand who the poet is. Do you know this poet is a very amazing poet? His name is Rudyard Kipling and he looks like this. Yeah, and you may be thinking, I don't know this poet. No, you know him. Do you remember the Jungle Book where you found Mowgli and you saw Balu? That Jungle Book is written by Rudyard Kipling. Yeah, isn't it amazing? Well, the same author has written an amazing poem right now. And we are going to go into the depth of this poem. Come on, let's quickly get on to it. Well, get on to the first one. The first stanza says, I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who. Well, the poet says that these honest serving men are the questions that we ask. And he says that these men have taught him everything he knew. That's absolutely right. Because if you want to know about something, you need to ask these questions. And only when you ask these questions, you will get to know about things, right? So, about things around you, if you do not know about them, what do? You ask your question. So, when you ask your question, it is just like you are sending a serving man. Alright, so like Fred asked, who is this? Well, because he didn't know who is this, he asked a question. And I answered him that this is a ladybug. And he got his answers. Correct? So, when you ask questions, it's just like you are sending honest men out on a duty. And they are ready to serve you. And do you know why he's calling them honest? Because whenever you ask a question, Miss, how? I didn't understand. What? How? What? When? Where? These are honest questions. It's really from your heart. You really want to know about it. And that is why they are called as honest serving men. Alright, let's get on to the next stanza. I send them over land and sea. Means the poet asks questions about land and sea, alright, pertaining to things on land as well as pertaining to things in the sea or over the sea, means things here or abroad. Next line says, I send them east and west, means the poet asks questions from east to west, means to get information about things from all over the world. You need to ask questions. Only then you can get the answers about things happening all around the world. Okay? But after they have worked for me, I give them all a rest. Now, once you've asked question, where is Antarctica? You get the answer. It's in the North Pole. And then you'll ask, how do people live there? How can animals live there? What do they eat? So, such questions you'll ask. Finally, after you've got your answer, you'll relax. You won't ask any other question for a long time because your questions have been answered. And so, that is why the poet says that I give them all a rest. I let them rest from 9 till 5, for I am busy then. Which means 9 to 5. You know, when you are busy doing your work, you wouldn't have questions popping up in your mind, would you? No, because you are doing some work which is productive. That time, you don't have time to think about so many other different things. You'll be focusing on what is to be done right now. So the poet says that when you are doing something, when you're busy doing a particular thing, don't let your mind go wandering. What, how, why, when? Relax. Give your questions a rest and focus on what is at hand. Okay? Then, as well as breakfast, lunch and tea, for they are hungry men. The poet says that when I'm eating food, no questions. I'm going to eat my food. No questions then. But different folk have different views. Well, that means different people look at these questions in a different way. They use these serving men in a different way. How? Well, he's giving an example of a little child. I know a person small. She keeps 10 million serving men. Really? Oh my gosh! Who get no rest at all. Exactly. He is talking about you. Yeah. I'm sure when Mama's doing work, you'll be asking her 10,000 questions. Mama, what is this? why did it happen? Then it won't stop at why. Then it will come to, do you know mama like this? No. How can that happen? Why this happened? No. Mama like this, mama. No, I don't think so. Mama, how about like this? Why, mama? Why? But no, like this. Mama says, oh मेरी बच्ची चुप बैठो. Right? Well, because kids have no stopping for their questions. They have 10,000. And over here, the poet says 10 million questions. 10 million serving men. What does she do? She sends them abroad on her own affairs. Means she sends them to different places to do her work. Alright, means her questions are not so limited. Okay, that's it. Her questions, no bounds. She keeps on thinking, just like you. From the second she opens her eyes. Yeah, as soon as you wake up, you're like, why did the alarm ring? No. Why did the sun rise? Why can't it just take a rest for one day? Can't the sun go on for a lockdown? That I can sleep all through the day. Well, those questions, please, sometimes we cannot answer your questions. Your mama raises her hand, oh my, I cannot answer her questions. Well, but your questions are questions to be answered, right? Well, 1 million house, 2 million wares, and 7 million whys. Well, I know what your moms and dads are going through with all the questions that you have. Well, in a way, you asking the questions is a good sign. Do you know that only when you ask questions, you increase your knowledge about things? Well, instead of pestering your mom and troubling her, why don't you start Googling it out? Or why don't you open a proper dictionary and start learning the meanings of it? Or why don't you start reading books? Open the books, find the answers to your questions. Alright? Find the proper means to get your answers. And never try to get answers from the wrong person or from people who will tell you the wrong things. Your mom is the right person. Your dad is the right person. And so are your elders. Never keep your questions to yourself. Ask them out. And only when you ask, you will get your answers. Though it is tiring, it is good. Okay? So, well, dear kids, hope you've understood the poem. Let's read the entire poem once together. Well, Ladybug, can you see the poem? Come forward. Alright. Well, so let's begin. 6 Honest Serving Men by Rudyard Kipling. I keep 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. Their names are what and why and when and how and where and who. I send them over land and sea. I send them east and west. But after they have worked for me, I give them all a rest. I let them rest from 9 till 5, for I am busy then, as well as breakfast, lunch and tea, for they are hungry men. But different folk have different views. I know a person small. She keeps 10 million serving men who get no rest at all. She sends them abroad on her own affairs from the second she opens her eyes. 1 million house, 2 million wares, and 7 million whys. Did you come here for a question? I'm not going to answer. He's not saying anything. I think he got all his answers. I hope you understood the poem, alright, and as well as the meaning of it, okay? I hope you're able to answer the questions that I'm going to put up on the screen. All right?